Hello, Team Hearth League. It is Wednesday night. That means it is time for some Sylvanas Saloon. I am Force of Will, and I am joined, as always, by Dr. Drado. Dr. Drado, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing fantastic today. I'm excited to talk about what exciting games have been played this week and where we are all falling into and everything's shaping up for top 8. So,
would you say everything is spinning?
yes, that's exactly what I would be saying.
Nice, I like it.
Stay tuned as we see how many dreidel jokes I can make in one episode of this show.
Damn, Yellow Dart's already throwing down in chat. The exciting game where I stomped JR. Like, damn. All right, I guess we're starting early tonight.
Shots fired.
All right.
Shots fired already. So, all right,
here we go.
Well,
bitch, you going down.
Since he's already started, it's like, so we have our special guest this evening, JR Juggerlaw. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'll admit, I'm not sure how to feel about Yellow Dart deciding to be a pussy and call me out in the chat as opposed to in person. But all right, I get it. I get how it is.
It happens.
I'm kidding. Much love to you, man. He knows how I feel about him.
So, Kel would normally be with us, but unfortunately, Kel this evening I believe he is getting ready for a wedding. One of his family members is getting married. So, congratulations to Kel's family on that. So, but let's go ahead and get started, and we're going to talk about the not Ragnaros. We're Sylvanas Saloon. We don't care about Rag. I mean, we care about Ragnaros.
I care about Rag League.
I care about Rag League as well.
Me too. Yeah, we care about Rag League. But join us for Tavern Talk tomorrow night to talk about Rag League. But let's talk about Sylvanas League, the Week 4 in review, and we're going to start off with what I think might be the biggest upset of the season so far, considering how much we've been talking him up and everything else. So, Dr. Drado, tell us about 65,340,285 Boars versus Cult of Mecha Cthulhu.
That number is so specific, man.
It is.
All right.
Yes.
I still don't get it.
Well, hold on. Before you start, I can explain it. So, you a fan of South Park?
Hells yeah.
All right. I believe season 10, this is like probably 10 plus seasons ago at this point. But
yeah, they're like up to 25, 26, I think.
Yeah, something like that. So,
good Lord.
But they did an episode about World of Warcraft.
Oh yeah. That's one of the best ones.
They had to kill a certain number.
65.
Yes. Because that was how many boars they had to kill to get to the experience level where they could defeat that the guy who was killing all of them.
Yeah, to get to max level.
Oh my god.
That's the meme.
That actually is pretty clever. I'll say, because that's also just such a really good episode.
Yeah, it is. I think it's one of their highlights.
But I've delayed enough. Dreidel, tell us about the match.
Yes,
all right.
The match.
The reigning champions, Cult of Mechathune.
Wait, what?
What?
No, the Boars. The Boars
Dreidel,
are the reigning champions.
goofed.
Oh, the reigning champions, the Boars, finally put together and beat Cult of Mechathune, which is the champions right now. That's what I meant. Very close.
Hold on. They're not the champions now.
Whoa.
Not like they're in the lead right now. They're holding the lead for the.
All right, I'll give you that.
That's what I mean.
Not even drinking.
That's what I mean.
We're the ones who have to correct you. That's kind of a bad sign.
Right. Clark, Hellscream, and Big Ted were able to win for Cult, but Boars take the other 3 matches, all going 3-2. Cult of Mechathunes remains the gold division leader and enter week 5, leading Big Deck Bandits by leading the division by 10 points. Boars move up to 4th place past Eon, with Cult of Mechathunes having its first loss. Where do they go from here? And is it the start of the Boars comeback? Like,
it's a good question.
That's a very good question. So, JR, we're going to start with you on this one. Sure. What are your thoughts on this matchup and kind of Colt now that they have their first loss in there? What's your thoughts on these teams?
I originally went into this season thinking Cult of Mechathune was going to be a strong team because they've got a strong group of players. But at the same time, most of what I knew about the team, besides I want to say Clark and Quaz, was probably like secondhand. So I'm generally one to be very optimistic. So I place faith in players. I'm just like, you know what? we're all pretty good in this league. We all may struggle, but we're all pretty good at the end of the day, or we all suck, depending on how you look at it. The point is, this was a team that I wasn't really sure how well they would all mesh together and how, what kind of results they were going to get. Because, part of it is having strong players. Part of it is also knowing how to help each other and build upon your success. Mm-hmm. And when you have a team like the Boars, a team that is kind of built around the fact that they're both really good and have great team chemistry, it's at the very least, I think people kind of expected that regardless of Mecha'thun's quality, they were going to have a challenge this week. And they did win, but it was not easy because the fact they lost, but they still put up a really good fight. It was a close one, but in the end, it was the Boars just had that one extra point they needed.
Yeah, Dr. What's your thoughts on this one? I'm looking up a small piece of information real quick.
I'm excited. We kind of cursed them in a way last week. We all said that the Cult had it easy, and no.
Oh, you did say that, right?
Boars gave him the old swing.
But I mean, you can't ignore the fact that the Cult had the last week was obviously an easy week considering the standing, considering where Aeon's at. But then they first played Team Black Lotus, pretty solid team. If you look at their roster, and then of course you have the Ugly Mucklings, which I mean I feel like their roster kind of just speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Even when you consider how top heavy they are, it's just these guys bring a lot to the table. So I think it's definitely I think even if you weren't sure they were going to do so well, it's first 2 weeks, they're definitely making some kind of statement.
Yeah.
I will say, I think we talked about this last week that this might start occurring, and the only thing I can tell is I think it might have occurred a little sooner than we thought, because I thought Cult of Mecha'thun's really big advantage overall was that they were a new team, unexpected, unknown for the most part.
Yeah.
That they might have a small advantage going into the beginning of the league, but now the Boars have picked up their first win of the season. Let's not discount that.
Oh, I forgot about that.
This is the Boars' first win. They lost their first 3 weeks, and they were as of last week, they were the lowest scoring league team.
That's right. They're still only at 48 points right now.
They still don't have a great score, but they're better than they were last week. So, looking at the remaining schedule, because I think now we're approaching the halfway point. We got to start looking at it. Colt has a hard one coming up. They have Big Deck Bandits this week, but then they have Explosive Sheep, Gloops Bloops, Insomniacs, and then the last week they face off against Smells Like Steam Spirit.
Which I mean, it'll be interesting to see kind of how their standings change if they really maybe some of these teams won't seem like as much of a threat to them.
Let me counterpoint this. I want to counterpoint this.
Yeah.
Colt got 14 points. All I say this every week. I say if you go 2-3, you're doing well. Every single person on their team either went 3-2 or 2-3. They got 14 points from everybody. Everybody put in effort. I don't think that's something to be ashamed of. I think
absolutely
not at all.
That's huge. I think you can't, even if they lose, every single person put in effort to try and win that week, and they lost, but they got everybody participated. Everybody, and that's all. I think
the big thing here.
That's all I ask.
I think the big thing here is that they only got 2 wins, but they were still 1 point away from tying it up.
Mm-hmm.
Because those situations when they happen, it's one of two things generally happen. Either one team got really killed in their losses and they barely scored anything, or one team scored had a lot of maybe all their in the case of this match, all their losses were 2 threes. So it's those points do add up. It's kind of like why someone like myself, for instance, I tend to feel so much better when I get 2 points compared to 1, because not only was I so much closer to winning, but also like that extra point can be so huge in several different ways. So, but I also want to make a comment on Force's point about Cult of Mechathoon being a new team and kind of that being like an advantage. As much as I do feel like there is such a thing as kind of a surprise factor with new teams and what they can bring, the thing that I always do notice is that when you're if you're like facing somebody you faced before and you're like they're kind of familiar with what decks you brought before, it's not like you gain so much insight from that previous match, especially if it was from a previous like season, like where things can even, and like I'll give you an example of like me playing against me and my upcoming match with the Yellow Dart. Like we played each other last season, and even though there like haven't been any drastic changes to the meta since then, the actual like dynamic of what classes are popular and are the most brought has changed enough where it's like I feel like I think if I remember correctly, pretty much all the decks I brought to that match are like either obsolete completely or they're just like hardly worth bringing at all. And it's like I remember what he brought, but like what can I actually gain from that? Maybe there's some little information, but I think at the end of the day, it's almost like we're just playing each other for the first time because I feel like whatever information is not going to be match deciding.
Yeah, no, I honestly, and I agree with that. It's like, yeah, season to season, it's hard to tell because the way our seasons work out right now is you have a whole new expansion in between each season.
Yeah.
So not a whole lot of information to gain from there. What I'm thinking of more of the new team advantage is week 1, week 2, week 3, when you have a team that's mostly new players. You don't know their patterns, you don't know their habits, you don't know what decks they really like to bring.
Yeah.
Until the first few weeks. So even within the same season, once you get to week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, going forward, you have a wealth of data back there that's like, okay, this person has brought, Shaman every single week.
Yep.
How can I exploit that? And
Yep.
That's.
But now we're in such a weird place with this meta where like,
yes,
with how many classes are kind of being consistently brought, and it's like. I like the meta right now. Like, I don't love it. It's not my favorite. But I feel like the thing I always tell people is that my favorite meta since joining THL was probably Journey to Ungoro, because there were only even though two of the class I brought were always the same, I still felt like I had a fair number of options at my disposal just within the classes themselves. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was when Pirate Warrior was a thing, but I loved to bring Quest Warrior. It was I found that much more fun. I found it was very underrated, and unlike Pirate Warrior, you couldn't hard counter the absolute hell out of it. It was stuff like that was just it was fine. I'm not against the idea of having repetition.
There's not really a big RNG or big up build up deck that you need to make we're making Yogg-Saron or we're making just Ysera's or something like that.
Yeah, that's the thing that's actually nice. This is the first meta in a while where there isn't kind of a must bring deck out there, or at least a debatably must bring, because I would say the debatably must bring class is Druid still, but that's because you've got 4 solid deck options out there, and the actual chaos it creates is pretty interesting in terms of how similar they can be, how different they can be. I mean, look at the fact that you've got Togwaggle Druid as its own thing. Mm-hmm. You've also got Malagos Togwaggle Druid, because that's a thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Druid feels to me like it's both predictable and not predictable all at once.
We're predicting the same 20 cards in every single Druid deck, and then it's just 10 cards.
But the interactions can still vary. That's the thing that's very different.
Correct. It's I think with Druid, the way that at least I've been breaking down Druid in my mind right now is you have your somewhat aggressive deck with Token Druid, and then you have all the other Druids that are just trying to do broken things with a bunch of mana. So it's whether it's Taunt, whether it's Malagos, Togwaggle, Malagos, Togwaggle, whatever else, it sort of all falls into that same kind of okay, I know what you're kind of doing here.
Well, yeah, I think that's why a lot of people seem to ban Druid. Like I've done it myself. It's like all the variants are kind of like, well, you're a pain in the ass to deal with. All right.
Yep. Yeah, basically. So,
but they're not even necessarily. But the thing I find interesting, especially for like Togwaggle Druid, is like I have just won games because even though they've pulled off the combo, they don't accomplish that much from it.
Right. It's like, okay, you take my deck with 3 cards left in it.
Okay. I think the best example of this is if you're playing Death Rattle Hunter. Like you have, you take my hand, but I'm still building a beast every turn, and you have to find a way to deal with that, and I don't think you can.
Yep.
So have fun with that.
Absolutely. All right. So overall, honestly, I will say, I think just going back to this match real quick, I think Cole's going to be fine as long as they win week 6, 7, and 8. As long as they win big those weeks, they'll be fine.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, I think the biggest thing here is that they've accumulated so many points at this point that even like a loss, like say what they had last week of like where they still managed to get like 14 points, if they were still accumulating on average like 12, 13 points, they'd still be in solid shape, really.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
no, they're still solid. I really think. Well, we'll get to this in the week 5 preview, but I really think their big test is coming up this week.
Yes, I agree.
So,
speaking from experience.
Yep. So let's go ahead and talk about another one from the Red Gold division real quick, and let's talk about Smells Like Steam Spirit versus Big Deck Bandits. So, Smells Like Steam Spirit. Yeah, Smells Like Steam Spirit was able to beat the Big Deck Bandits 14-10. Steffi and Finnick Adair were able to win for the Bandits, and actually Finnick Adair was actually able to sweep Dexter HS. But Steam Spirit were able to take the other 3 games, including Machina sweeping Riots, which I think was pretty big also here.
Yeah, I found it especially big considering Machina brought Priest. And if that's the same Priest deck he beat me with during last season, where he actually won all 3 of his games against me with that deck, I mean, if it's the same deck, I would be very excited because that deck was a lot of fun. It's actually, I'll just say it's kind of similar to a version that recently became popular. Not quite the same, but it was, you could call it the prelude to that deck.
The prelude was the prelude to the APM?
What?
Oh, prelude to the APM Priest. Basically it's combo Priest, but it was before all the
yeah. I didn't realize that's what they call it.
Yeah, because you in order to get through a 70-second turn, you have to go a very high APM to pull it off. But
right, that makes sense.
So
no, not that one. No, not that Priest. Different Priest. The other one that recently became popular. We'll leave it at
that. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as someone that lost 2 straight with that one or against that one, I understand. I did that this past week. So. In Sylvanas League. So Kinchler, I won't ruin strategy, but yeah.
Kinchler I got you.
Kinchler rocked me with that Priest. So Smells Like Steam Spirit still leads the Red Division, but it's gotten Red Division, I will say, is incredibly tight, with maybe the exception of Floops, Gloops, Bloops. But,
and even then, I feel like they're just they just had one really off week because they had to play against the Mucklings.
Mm-hmm. But all the other 4 teams all within 13 points. That's 1 week of of each other. Mm-hmm. Whereas Big Deck Bandits, they are currently second, as we mentioned. They're currently coming into this week 10 points behind Cult of Mechathon. So where do these teams go in the second half of the season? Because I think both these teams are in very interesting spots right now.
I think what Smells Like Steam Spirit, I think these guys have a really good shot. I mean. Mm-hmm. You're talking about some very experienced players between Arcane, Machina, and Dexter. And I think they're also such a pretty well-rounded team that there's no matchup where I feel like even in matchups like where they face a team that's more top-heavy and the matchups might seem a bit more unfavored, they can still definitely really compete. So I feel like that with them, it's a bit of an unorthodox lineup that they've got. You kind of got this interesting mishmash of good players. Big Deck Bandits is really they're pretty much the same roster from last season, except Riots is playing in place of Earl. And while it is a bit of a loss because Earl is Earl. Nothing against Riots, but it's Earl.
It's Earl.
It's freaking Earl. And I'm honestly very bummed that he's not joining us this season. But you know what? it is what it is. But Big Deck Bandits, I feel like, there's so much potential on that team. I feel like, they could easily find their way. Like last season, I'm not sure what happened to them because they were doing really well towards the end, but they really struggled up until like I want to say week 5 or 6. And then it was like by that point, it was kind of too late. Although, hilariously enough, they almost knocked Hero Power Rangers out of the playoffs because of how poorly we were doing against them during our last week. We basically had the whole thing on lock, and we just, I'm just going to say it, we just shit the bed that week. It was miserable. But we got one win thanks to Boyd, which shut them down from passing us. And it was just like, man, like we almost blew it. And I was just like, if these guys had played to that caliber and had been that successful all through from earlier on in the season, I think they would have made the playoffs easily. So I'm interested to see what happens next with them.
Yeah, I am too. It's like as much as I think Colts big week is coming up this week. Big Day Bandits week is coming up this week as well. It's like I'm
stoked for that match.
I am really stoked for that match. I'm hoping. I actually still need to find some matches for Thursday Throwdown, and I'm hoping to get one of those hopefully tonight. So if you're watching, you're interested, maybe I can talk Steffi and Arcane possibly into being on. But sorry, that was last week's match. Maybe I can talk Steffi and Steffi's opponent, whoever that is, into playing on Thursday Throwdown this week. But it's like they're both going into their season-defining matches. I think like Smells Like Team Spirit. They got Team Black Lotus. We are surging at the moment, so that's good. I think we're gonna go in and we're gonna be strong against them. And then after us, they face Ugly Mucklings, Eon,
just
Boars,
gonna say, I feel like that 5 seed match though. It's looking rough for Team Black Lotus.
I speaking of shitting the bed, that's basically all I've been doing this season.
Okay, no. Dude, I was shitting the bed the past 2 seasons of Rag League, and then somehow I've managed to find a streak, and somehow I'm not shitting the bed this season. It's miraculous. So
I hear you there, JR. I hear you there.
It's like well.
Now watch me lose the next 6 weeks in a row, and I'm just the next 5 weeks in a row, and I'm just like, I did just as poorly as last season.
Same.
Last season I was 6-3 Rag, 4-1 in Silph. This season, playing 8 games already, I have won one between both leagues.
Makes you feel any better? Zeroshio's in the same exact boat.
Yeah. So
and I feel the same way. Both of you deserve so much better.
We deserve it, but the problem is we're not.
No, you don't deserve it. I mean, you don't deserve it. No, nobody deserves to be in that position. I mean,
no.
Oh, that's like when season 8 of Rag League, I went 3 consecutive weeks getting reverse swept.
Yeah, that was. That's rough too. I would say losing is rough. Losing is rough. Getting reverse swept is even worse. It's just like
it's weird because in the long run you're like, all right, I guess I got 2 points. But when it happens repeatedly and you're just like, how did I blow it that many weeks in a row? That's what's frustrating.
Yeah.
Lucky for me, I almost got reverse swept twice this season, but I didn't in either of them. Yeah. Now watch as I jinx myself.
Yeah, you probably have. It's like, we'll figure that out in the next coming weeks. But
if it happens with Yellow Dart, I'm going to be pissed.
So, but I think, Smells Like Teen Spirit, besides this week, and Eon probably next week, I think they got some tough matches. They got the Boars and Cult of Mechathune still on their plate. And it's just like, they're going to have a couple rough weeks here. But I have faith that they might be able to hold out on that. So, we're going to see what happens with them. Dr. Raider, what's your thoughts on the Bandits and the Steam Spirit?
Bandits.
So what I'm thinking is Smells Like Steam Spirit might be that wild card holder. They're the ticket in.
Wow.
If you have to beat Smells Like Steam Spirit to get into top 8. That's what I'm thinking right now because after this week and they're the gatekeeper.
I mean, they're sitting in a pretty comfortable spot right now. So even if I can easily see them losing that top spot. I feel like they're gonna have enough success where they can definitely hold at the very least a wild card spot.
No, yeah, I think they're the gatekeeper.
They play their third. They play their third place team behind them this week. They play second place with Ugly Mucklings next week. So
Yeah, those are going to be important matchups.
Yeah.
Mucklings, I would love to see that matchup just because it's like, I mean, it's the same thing. Like I like one of my most anticipated matchups was actually Cult of Mechathoon versus Ugly Mucklings, and that happened week 1, and I was just like, damn. Or no, sorry, that was against Boars.
Week 2.
Have they played the Mucklings yet?
Week 2, but yeah,
Week 2.
yeah,
Right.
That
already happened early on, right? So it was
Yeah.
because with the Mucklings, they're basically like the glitter bays of Sylph League, which is
The
funny
glitter
because Wolf
bays
Max
of
on
Sylph.
both of those teams. Because like they're going about it with this like very top heavy lineup. They're loaded out with some strong players on the bottom, like who are basically steals for their PR. But you're wondering, is that going to translate into success? Because like we've noticed, like with the glitter base, for instance, they've been struggling a fair bit in Rag League, and with Ugly Mucklings, they're not doing badly, but they're probably thinking, man, we expect to be doing better right now at this point.
I will say, I think their only loss, right? I think in Ugly Muckling's defense, I think their only loss so far is to Colt.
Probably. I haven't checked all their matches, but probably. But at the same time, they're probably still like, these guys are like, they're definitely very hungry for victory. So
the thing is,
I could see them kind of being like, we're not in bad position, but we need to like step it up a bit.
The thing is, if we ended the week here, which it's almost at a midpoint, they wouldn't make top 8. They're in 9th.
They would not.
So
actually, what
by 1 point?
The Mucklings?
Yeah, Explosive
They
Sheep.
would just miss it by 1 point
because
because
you're correct. Yes, Explosive Sheep is currently the second wild card. Yeah, you're correct.
So I mean, but granted, it's only week.
It's
4.
only week 4. I'm just
there's a lot. A lot. Like week 4 is kind of the point. After week 4, it's like you're kind of at the point where you can extrapolate information, but only to such a point.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
So
like, the only person we didn't talk about was Boozosaurus, and I think Boozosaurus deserves some credit here. Like, Booz has been doing really well, and I think Booz is gonna hold strong this whole season, and that's gonna push Smells Like Teen Spirit into that gatekeeper spot. That's what I was going to say, but
yeah. No, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. But yeah.
Right, so
that sounds about right, though. Yeah.
All right. So, any other thoughts before we move over to the other conference, so we can talk a little bit about?
Let's move on.
All right. Cool. All right. So we're Black Ops Elves versus Tap Blast. So, JR, you want to tell us about this matchup?
Yeah, sure. Give me 1 second. Pull it up. Yeah. So, that matchup was definitely a bit of a doozy. I wasn't sure how this one was going to go. This ended up being a very exciting tie, though. Myth ended up being Aliens. Myth and Bill Snyder ended up taking wins for Tap Blast, winning 3-1 and 3-0 respectively. But Black Ops Elves ended up taking the other 3 matches. Magma Skull ended up being Robbot 3-2. Snap Blaster beat Shunsui 21 3-2, and Kura Fenway 86.
Sorry, I might have to see how that's pronounced. Kura Fenway 86.
Kura Fenway 86 beat our.
I'm sure chat will correct.
Our always lovely Jacksucks. 3-1. So yeah, despite Black Ops Elves accumulating more wins, this was another one of those tie scenarios because Tap Blast ends up getting a fair bit more points among their losses by comparison. So they made up the difference. And now, like, I'm looking at both of these teams, and I'm just like, they're both pretty intimidating. It seems it seems very appropriate that they tied, frankly.
One thing I'm
still looking at blue.
One thing I will say is that Tap Blast has not played any of the big teams yet, and they're in a wild card spot. That's scary to me. Like, it's week 4, everything's settled, and they still have to face every team that's shown that they can put a stand into the league. And
well this week they're facing Bon Voyage, so that's going to be definitely a big test of that.
That's a big test. Yes.
Then next week is Faithless Lummy. Then Argent Terminus Legion. Even though do not be fooled by their current point total.
Nah.
Argent Terminus Legion has good players.
Nobody ever underestimates ATL.
I never.
They're a strong group of players who, regardless of their performance, are very skilled and talented. And anyone who has and anyone wants to say that to the contrary, well, let's just say I have a Spartan who's willing to assist me in this.
Yep, absolutely. And then they face off Dad Legend and Ask HS the last 2 weeks. So they have a very rough schedule coming up.
They do.
Very, very rough schedule.
But that's always one of those interesting questions of like, is that actually such a rough schedule, or like, are they in reality prepared for it? Because schedules are always such a difficult thing to dissect.
They are. They really are.
Personally, I think with Tap Last, I mean, my team got wrecked by them. We had they swept 3 of our guys. Thankfully, I was not one of them. And it feels like this week, it feels like they are a very strong team. But, I'm very curious to find out if that was just an off week for us, or if they're just playing really good to start and they're going to fade a little, or if they're just going to keep a strong presence going through the rest of the season. But I definitely am very hesitant to have the reaction of, oh, well, they haven't played the toughest teams yet. I don't know. Like, I would be hesitant I'd be skeptical of how well they're going to do. I think, like, here's the thing. Let's say hypothetically they lose to Bon Voyage this week. Are you really going to be like, oh, this proves us right? There's like all these things like, oh, like this team isn't maybe quite as good as we thought. It's like, no, they just lost to the team that's basically leading Blurple right now. I feel like this is a week for them where if they win, it shows great promise. If they lose, it's like, whatever, move on to the next week.
Exactly.
I will say right now, I think their Tap Last top 2 might be 2 of the strongest top 2 in Sylvanas League.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Snyder, 4 weeks in, 4-0 in games.
Not
currently
just
12-0.
4-0.
12-0.
What?
Hasn't dropped a game. Hasn't dropped a game.
You're kidding me.
No, we're not kidding you. Yet. I looked at it, and he has not dropped a game. He's 12-0.
That's insane.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's
especially even in Sylvanas League, where you're more likely to sweep somebody.
Yeah.
Like, that's just nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm about to say, and Myth's been killing both leagues right now. It was like I think Myth is also undefeated. He's lost games, but I think he is undefeated though.
I told my 2 seeded, I'm like, I know you're scared right now, and I'm scared for you, but we still got work to do. Like, don't be scared. Mm-hmm. Don't hesitate. Just get your 5 games in, because he's won 3-0. As long as you can get 5 games in, I'm happy. That's all.
I'm sorry. Myth lost week 1. He lost to Misadventure of Tampam Surf Slam, but he's won the other 3. So he's 3-1. So Myth 3-1. Bill Snyder hasn't dropped a damn game yet.
And I mean, if you're going to lose to somebody, why not lose to one of the top female players in this league? Mm-hmm. Actually, granted, pretty much every female player in this league is very impressive in their own right. So I guess you just lost to a really good player.
Yeah. You just lost to a really good player.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, former Rag League champion, mind you, though.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So very, very, very strong.
Yeah.
Team. So
you can't say he hasn't had some good competition, some good strong opponents.
No, he hasn't. Yeah, he's had some good opponents so far. So if Tap Last can carry 1-2, and then they only have to pick up a win from Robot, Shansui, or Jack Sox, I think they're going to be okay. It's like,
yeah.
If they can keep that same rate going. So you usually only have to win 3 games to win the week, unless some weird point things go on to you tie. But,
I actually played against Rob Bot. The man is not to be underestimated. He almost got me in game 5. Like, I would definitely say, like, the man, I feel for the man, because, like, I know he's told me he struggled this season, but I definitely feel like his skills have been displayed and really shown. So I think he's got something to be proud of, even
almost every week. Like, and you can't be ashamed of that. Like,
especially in my game, he was about to be swept. He almost pulled off the reverse sweep.
That's impressive. Like,
yeah, it was a close one.
Yeah.
All right. So any other thoughts? Because on this matchup here is like.
There's just a lot of excitement here. I feel like there's too much there's like so much we could actually say. It's probably best to move on.
There is. It's like, between all the teams right now, it's like, there's only a very few teams that are just like completely out of the running right now. Looking at you, Eon.
I'm just gonna say now that, like, I feel like with both leagues right now, both leagues are in such an interesting place in terms of like where everything's progressing, where the standings are. That's like you can't help but be very excited as to what's going to happen going forward.
I wouldn't say Eon's out of it. I say if Eon has 2 or 3 good weeks, they can come back.
They're 40 points. They're 40 points behind.
They're not 40 points behind. They're 20 points behind.
Well, from
30,
first.
30,
they can still get a wild card. It's just, I mean, you got to keep in mind, they've got 5 weeks left. There's definitely, like, room.
We did the math. They're only 20 points behind a wild card spot right now. So they're not that far behind.
Yeah.
The problem is, if they have, like, a big loss, they probably are just out at that point.
Yeah,
like, they need to get, if they're going to lose, they better be accumulating, like, 11, 12 points at least. Otherwise, it's going to be rough.
And that's the thing. In both leagues, the worst team that right now is only 20 points behind in both leagues. So everybody has a chance to catch up.
Yeah,
but, I mean,
they do.
But that's the thing. It's like they can realistically. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah,
Probably
realistically,
won't. But I'm also saying that as someone who was on Team Synergy, who made it to Rag League playoffs in one of the most absurd scenarios ever. So never like assume a team is out until that last week is over.
We've had seasons where the impossible happens, and that's what you got to look for.
Yep.
Not so much the impossible, but like the improbable.
Yeah,
the stuff that's like so unlikely to happen that it's like
it's the underdog story.
You just rule it out because the odds are so tiny.
I'm all about that underdog story.
Absolutely.
That was Synergy Season 8 in a nutshell.
Yeah, basically. That seems to be Synergy every season except this season, which is weird.
Mean, yeah, needless to say, I'm kind of bummed I'm not part of that team. Or at least I would be if RNG wasn't killing it right now.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, Synergy, like, well, again, we're not getting into Rag, but follow Tavern Talk tomorrow night. We're certainly going to.
Oh, no. They're definitely going to be discussed, though, because.
Yeah, they are.
They're basically the cult of Mechathune right now.
Basically.
They are doing well.
I mean,
I'm not going to lie.
They were 3-0 and then just got their first loss. That's, and they both are in gold.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know. There's probably more parallels I could draw, but we don't have all day.
Only parallels from now on. You can only talk about parallels.
So
well, now you disappoint me.
Let's talk about the THL Twitch channel. So you're watching the Team Hearth League channel right now, of course. I would really like to encourage y'all to one, follow. If you at the bare minimum, follow us and turn on your notifications so you see when we go live. But what we really want you to do is we want you to subscribe. Subscribe to the Team Hearth League channel. You get some things like some really nice badges if you are a subscriber. I think you get some nice emotes as a subscriber to the Team Hearth League Twitch channel. Also, your subscriptions help to do several things, include help maintenance of the website, as well as provide some prize support for things like our THL Open Series, which if you played that this past weekend, it was on fire. It was awesome. We had a completely new player win it this season or this week in Rumham, who brought very unique lineups. So definitely hit the follow, hit the subscribe, turn on your notifications so that way you'll know exactly when we go live every day. And actually now with the new show HearthCenter that just started last night, we now have Twitch programming 6 of 7 days of the week. Monday is the only day that we don't have a show that goes live. So
I need to get in on that and be a part of one of those, just because it's a lot of fun being a part of this.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, no, it's absolutely fun hosting it. It's fun talking about it. It's fun talking about the league. Fun watching some great Hearthstone matches during the week. So definitely check us out. Hit the follow, hit the subscribe
Especially
button.
If you want to see these beautiful faces. I mean, less so mine and more theirs, but I'm trying.
Yeah, less of mine too.
I've got resting Jew face. I don't know what else I can do about that.
Hey, I got the other side of that, so
No. You got resting dreidel face. That's like similar but different. I don't actually know what that is, but I'm gonna figure that out over time.
Well, before we go too far deep down this hole, let's talk about the power rankings,
dude.
Let's talk about
it's too late for that.
Oh, let's talk about the power rankings. I'm all up for that.
All right.
That's what I need.
We have new power rankings, and we have a new number one. Now, of course, we get these ahead of time, so they will be up on the blog either tonight, maybe tomorrow, sometime. But we have the preliminary power rankings. So last week, Cult of Mechathune was number 1. because of their loss to the Boars, they have now moved down to 6. So now we have Faithless Lummy, who technically hasn't lost yet, because I think they tied.
I can't even see this.
Faithless.
Yeah, I believe so.
Actually, the top 2 teams, Team 1 and Team 2, are technically undefeated. So far, because they only tied each other. So we have Faithless Lummy 1, Bon Voyage 2, Smells Like Steam Spirit 3, Tam Pam Surf Slam 4, Ugly Mucklings 5, Cult of Mechathun in 6, as we mentioned, Big Deck Bandits in 7th, Ask HS in 8th, Explosive Sheep in 9th, Hero Power Rangers in 10th place, and then everybody else is behind. We're not going to go through that.
I'm like, this is why I'm disappointed we lost to Tam Pam, because it's like if we had won, we definitely would have gone up a bit. But I'm fine with us staying at 10th.
It's like, I will say, just kind of props to the lower rankings. My team did jump after their second win in a row. We jumped up from 16 to 13. So, and if we beat Smells Like Steam Spirit this week, we'll probably move into that top 10 spot. So
yeah,
hopefully,
probably.
Hopefully
that would just be a big win
there.
overall.
Yes. Yep. So what are your thoughts? Okay, so I guess really looking at these rankings, the very first question that I personally have: did Colt get punished too hard here? In terms of
remind me, what number did they go down to?
I can't see. I can't see the power ranking.
Yeah, I can't either. So I'm just like, I'm gonna have to ask.
I
wasn't given access.
I should be able to at least view it. Give me 1 second. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I requested access, but
same.
Oh God.
Access difficulties
left out of this trade. What do you think?
All right. Done. All right, so yeah, click the link. You should be able to get in there.
So right off the bat, Faithless Lummy is pushing ahead of Bon Voyage. That's a little strange. I don't know.
I mean, you're kind of biased. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I think it's like the top. Honestly, looking at the top 2, it's definitely very interchangeable in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because the thing is with Lumi and Bon Voyage, you've got 2 very strong teams, very strong rosters, big success, and I mean that it's so close in terms of the actual numbers that it's really hard to kind of make a judgment call. Plus, you also have to consider the fact that especially that they're only 3 points apart from each other. Like, I get the idea of being like, oh, the team with the higher points should be higher, but maybe one team is better. Just because of you could argue one should still be ranked higher. We're not the rankings are never decided strictly by points. So for that reason, it's I get that. The thing in terms of the Colt question, I would have to say I think they got knocked down a bit too hard, because the thing that I find very puzzling is that and this is no disrespect to the Mucklings, but if you're gonna have 5 teams ahead of them, you shouldn't have a team that's 13 points below them in standings. I know if it was a few points difference, that would be one thing. But you're looking at the standings here, Ugly Mucklings are 5th right now in their conference with 58 points versus Cult, which are 15-point difference. Cult is still on top. So, and because of the difference in points, even if you wanted to say, okay, maybe I want Smells Like Team Spirit over them or something, Cult should still be at the very least among the top 2 teams from Rolled on that power ranking. So I find it very puzzling that you'd put a team that wouldn't even make playoffs if we ended the season at this point.
This is what I would do. I put, Faithless Lummies or Bon Voyage, whatever, first, sure. Cult second. And then Tam Pam third. I don't know why Tam Pam it's still in the top 4.
No. I think the top 3 should be Faithless Lumi, Bon Voyage, and no question.
Tam Pam should still be in the 4th. I think
Tam
Smells
Pam
Like
should definitely
Steam Spirit,
be in 4th.
I think Smells Like Steam Spirit should be in 6th.
Top 3.
Smells Like Steam Spirit should be in 6th.
Because my only issue is I think the only reason I think the only argument for putting Tam Pam in top 3 is the fact that they have such a commanding lead over Purple right now. Other than that, I feel this is still very much anybody's game. So it's I wouldn't and in terms of points, I don't know if I necessarily I don't feel like I'd put them over Bon Voyage or Faithless Lumi. That's the thing. I would say 4th because I only feel comfortable putting them those are the only 3 teams I don't feel comfortable putting them higher than. So
I think Tam is a top 3. That's where I'm putting Tam right now, and that's
perfectly valid.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm surprised of is why is Tap Last in 11th? What is going on? Like that's wrong.
Yeah, that's really confusing to me too.
It's like, well, I mean, Tap Last has had a couple big wins, and now a tie against.
I think they should at least be in the top 10. I think they should be 9th or 10th.
My feeling is the top 10 teams should, at the very least, all the teams that are like in the top 8. Even if you don't want to put them like as the top 8, put them at least all in the top 10, because especially if they're a team that's like doing moderately successful and definitely deserves one of those spots. Like I would argue Tap Last is still doing well enough to where they've earned, that spot in the top 4 for Blurple. So yeah, I would definitely want them in the top 10 for that reason alone. Maybe there would be teams I'd put ahead of them, but still.
They've earned the they're tied for the wild card spot with Ask Hearthstone, but Ask Hearthstone's in 8th right now, where Tap Last is in 11th.
Ahead of them. They're 4 points ahead.
They're 4 points ahead.
Yeah,
Tap Last
is currently 4 points ahead. Again, notwithstanding any results from this week yet, yes. Tap Last is currently
just in terms of after week 4, but yes.
If the season were to end today, it would be Tampam's, Bon Voyage, Faithless Illumi, Tap Last.
I might have copied the week a little bit ahead.
So,
yeah,
no, I think Colt probably got knocked a little too hard down here. I mean, I realize it. Yes.
I mean, if they were 4th, I'd be like, fine. But 4 is as low as I'd be like, okay.
All right, so yes.
6 is like, it's probably less about Ugly Mucklings being ahead of them and more about them like, what, like 6th? 6th? Like.
Now, in the credit of the people who wrote these rankings, they did lose to the 20th place team last week. The Boars were technically the last place team, but at the same time, they were the Boars.
They're the defending champions.
But they're still the former champions.
They put on there. They're like they face the defending champions, and then they put them. I also
don't think that should be such a huge detractor when the points still have. I get the reasoning, I do, but I mean, come on, Cult of Mechathoon lost. Not only did they lose, they only lose by 1 point. But they still accumulated 14 points for the week.
Yeah, it's not like they lost like a big margin.
In a commanding position above everybody. Mm-hmm. Like playoffs, if they continue at this rate, just getting a moderate amount of points every week, they're at the very least going to get a wild card spot. I don't see a scenario where they don't.
Yeah,
agreed.
I think
they'd have to have a pretty steep collapse in order for that to happen.
They need to be in the top 4. Putting them in the bottom 8 or whatever, mid 8. It's just it feels weird. It just feels weird in my eyes.
I'm all for flexibility and like for like not making this simply a matter of let's strictly rank them based on their positions like within the league. But there's got to also be like there's also some factors that can't be ignored, like in terms of the overall performance and where they stand in relation to the other teams. When you put a team like Mechathoon up there and you're just like, well, here's some guys who are like doing extremely well. And now we're suddenly bumping them down a few because they had one loss to a team that, even if they weren't performing well so far this season, is still very strong. Like, it's like I said before, a team can, even if a team is not doing well, they can still be really good. Mm-hmm. Like that. That's why I kind of don't like that factoring in so much.
Yeah, I think there could be a little bit of flip flop. Top 8 is a projected thing. That's what they think, and I think we have a merit to debate with them, and I do think that there's a couple of projections that we should make, but it should be almost the same as what it shows in the rankings, like with a couple of exceptions.
Yeah, so I think that's the only other team that I gotta be honest, I have a huge question mark right now on is Explosive Sheep. Like, yes, technically they are currently the 3rd place, or right now, again, season ended.
They're 3rd in gold, I think 4th overall, 4th for the conference.
Right, yeah. Right now they would make the playoffs if season ended today
by 1 point.
By 1 point, but looking who they have left, I think they still have one of the hardest schedules. That is just like, again, they have Boars this week, Cult of Mechathune next week, Big Deck Bandits, Floops, Floops, Insomniacs. So
I mean, they do have some strong. I agree with that logic, with that reasoning. But I would counter it by saying, I mean, look at how well rounded this team is.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. They're a good team.
It's I can't outright dismiss them. Now they do have the Boars to face this week, so it'll be interesting to see how that holds up, because the Boars for the most part is very similar. Like, they're kind of a pretty well-rounded team overall. I mean, you have Brasky in the 5th seed, and honestly, that's just mind-boggling to me, because in my opinion, he should be a 3 seed. Like when you look at his PR here compared to Rag, it's just like
insane. Yeah, huge difference.
Like, I know, I forget who it was who was saying Brasky was like kind of getting off to a rough start, and like now, and like he got off to a strong start and has been struggling the past few weeks. I'm very confident he's going to make a comeback, and it's not just because I find that voice so sexy. Hey, he knows how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Everyone
I think he knows how everybody feels about
everyone
that.
feels
So, I mean,
the
that's
same.
No, yeah. The important thing is his wife's okay with all of us cherishing his. And that's what matters most. But yeah, I think with Explosive Sheep, I mean, it's funny because Explosive Sheep used to be the team where every time I thought about them, I was like, holy crap, this is the team that probably had the lowest combined PR total for a THL team I have ever seen. Like, ever. It was insane. Like, because I think they had their 1 seed was like 300, like less than 350 PR.
Yeah. And
like, this wasn't even a team where like everybody had like about 300 something PR. This was like very like, very just like very unbalanced. Mm-hmm. So I'm like very glad that they kind of changed things up. They actually have my boy Catman on the team, who's on my Rag League team. The man is really good. He is definitely a new guy that is getting a lot of attention, and for very good reason, so I'm happy about that. So I think if he starts performing in Civ League as well as he's performing in Rag League, I think these guys are going to have a great asset to them.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So we'll have to see how they perform the next couple weeks. I think they have maybe one of the harder schedules, but I think they can definitely pull it off. So speaking of the next week, let's get into the Week 5 preview real quick.
Oh,
yeah. We're gonna talk about 3 big matches this week, and we're gonna start off with probably what's the biggest of them all, which is Big Deck Bandits versus Cult of Mechathune. So JR, tell us about this very exciting matchup.
Oh, I'm very ecstatic for this one.
Can't get any bigger with his big decks.
I mean, you know what? Steffi never stops talking about how big their decks are, and I applaud her enthusiasm. I really do.
Yes.
Like, I don't think I can compete with her decks. I really don't. They're just the biggest. The bigliest. All right, I'm terrible. No, but yeah, these are the top 2 teams in gold, obviously. They're facing off against one another. Cult of Mechathune, you know, I'm very curious to see how they're going to react to the fact that they just lost, because I feel like they're not shaken by it, but they're obviously just like, we can't let ourselves falter now. And they're going up against a team like I said before, these guys are very strong and well rounded. You've got my boy in position, my Rag League teammate of 2 seasons. This man, in my opinion, is one of the best captains out there because of how good he is at keeping everybody prepared. He does all the matchup charts. He suggests what decks to play. Really, it comes down to how much you're willing to listen to his feedback, because he's not going to be pushy about it. He's going to give you advice. It's your choice whether you want to take it or leave it, but he can help you make sure you are as prepared for your match as you need to be. And that definitely gives these guys a lot of advantage, especially because you're talking about a team of also like Steffi, Finnick O'Dare, Doc McButt. These are pretty chill people who are like very reasonable and able to, like, you know, both think on their feet, but also like listen to advice when they get it. At least from what I've heard.
So we do have the first match done of the series. Yeah. So we know that know that the Big Ted has beat Finnick O'Dare 3-1.
Now,
okay, that does, yeah.
Yeah, well, you go ahead first. I'll get my feedback on this. And
yeah, I mean, but overall, I'd say then, and then with Cult of Mechathune, I think these guys are, you know, I said before, they're very good. I think in terms of where this is going to go, I think the only matchup I feel really confident saying is going Actually, no. You know what? There's not really a single matchup where I feel like comfortable saying one is likely to win over the other. I think all of these remaining matches can go either way. I might have said the Big Ted was going to beat Finnick O'Dare, but even then, there's like, I feel like that wouldn't have been like, I wouldn't have felt super confident saying that. Like Quaz versus Doc McButt could definitely go either way, even though Doc McButt, many would argue Doc McButt may have an easy win here. We'll see. Blue Jay versus Riots. I don't really know much about either of them, so I'm not really sure who win. Sin versus Steffi. I mean, Sin has the PR advantage, but you got to also keep in mind Steffi's got a much higher PR in Rag League. She is not somebody to be messed with.
I don't think,
And then Clark Hellscream versus Imposition. In my opinion, Imposition is underrated players in THL.
Yep.
So, and that's saying something considering he's got a very strong PR here of 480. So I say, Clark's really good. I follow the man. I definitely think he's got mad skills. This is going to be an exciting match. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to Game 5, regardless of who wins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. Now, I will say, I think the Big Ted is undefeated this season. I don't think the Big Ted has lost the entire season. So I'm not surprised that Big Ted beat.
Big Ted. Oh yeah.
The Big Ted. Yeah, I don't think. I think he's undefeated. I don't think he's lost. So I would have actually picked him to beat Finnick Adair anyway.
Yeah.
For that,
That's
I will
fair.
say, I think Clark and Sin, I think they do pick up wins here. As good as Impo and Steffi are, I think they pick up wins. I think Riot picks up win against Blue Jay. So I think it's going to actually come down to that 5 seed match, Doc McButt versus Quaz. I think that's where this match hinges.
I would say, I think this is going to be a close one, regardless of who ends up winning. I
already have this in my head. I've done the math. I have this in my head. It's all over. I'm thinking 14-11. Exact numbers that Colt wins. Imposition.
If that ends up being the case, I'm going to have to find you and find out what your secret is, because that's too useful of a skill for me to allow you to use routinely.
Yeah.
I gotta harness it for my own uses. No offense, Dreidel.
So, Imposition, I think, loses, I think Imposition loses, and Doc
McButt's not playing. Okay, well, regardless.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Wait, hold on, time. What do you mean? Are they saying that in chat? What do you mean Doc McButt's not playing?
Oh yeah, no. Apparently, Doc McButt is he's being subbed.
Oh, so there's no sub in. Okay, you know what?
Quaz is supposed to play him, so he of all people would know if Doc McButt is being subbed. So I'm assuming that's why you mentioned it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that changes things.
But they don't have a they don't have a sub yet, but somebody will be playing in place of Doc McButt.
But that still doesn't change my answer. 14-11.
I will say it's knowing that Doc McButt is now not playing.
Yeah,
that does change my answer.
I have to say, because Doc McButt is such a steal for that PR that it's like, man.
I'm about to say against a unknown, and if I knew who the person subbing was, I would be like, okay, I have a little more information. But against an unknown player, I am going to give the advantage to Quaz in this case. If Doc McButt was actually playing, I was going to say I think Big Dead Bandits wins this 3-2.
I think if there was the possibility that he was going to be replaced by somebody more seasoned, but because of the PR, it's like
I said, it does come to that 5 seed area. I think Riots takes it. I think Steffi takes it. I don't think Imposition's going to take it though, and that's where that 5 seed comes in. And I think
interesting.
Oh, actually, yeah, I realized what I just said is because I said Clark and Sin take it. No, I think you're right. I think Clark beats Impo. I think Steffi beats Sin. Riots wins, and Big Ted has already won. If Doc McButt was playing, I would
5. Yeah.
Yeah, if Doc McButt would have played Quaz, I would have given him the win. But up against a unknown with at least a PR of 99, I'm going to give the advantage to Quaz in that case, and I'm going to say that Colton McAthune is going to win this
14-11.
That being said, I'm very much open to a surprise because, we don't even know who they're actually going to sub him for yet. So
we don't. Yeah, it's completely unknown.
Mark it in your books. 14-11.
And Quaz Quaz is also new to the league, right? Or am I wrong about that?
He's played. I think he's played some MCL, but I think and he may have played subbed last season. I think if I remember, because we had him on for an interview.
Okay, but I'm pretty confident in saying since I've been here, he hasn't played. He hasn't started off as a main roster member for any team.
No,
in either league.
No, he is not.
Okay, I know this is the very least his first season captaining. So
yeah,
I'm not including the books, but I'm not including the +3. But if it's 42-11, just
no, I know what you mean. You're 14-11 minus the bonus.
Quaz explained in chat. He played for the Scrimps as a sub. So he played Scrimps last year.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that. But that was after my team played the Scrimps, so that's why I didn't quite remember it.
Yep.
Scrimps.
All right, so that matchup seems very close. Do we want to move on to the next one then?
Yeah, let's move on to the next one.
Let's move on to the next
one. So I'll cover the next one because this is actually my team. And I think this may not be a season-defining match for Smells Like Teen Spirit, but I think it's a season-defining match for Team Black Lotus. It's a match between the Red Division leaders and the third-place team in Red. Now, Steve Spirit leads the Red Division, but they're currently only 7 points ahead of the Ugly Mucklings and 11 points ahead of Team Black Lotus. So a good week here, we can do this. Now, Team Black Lotus has won the last 2 weeks in a row. We're finally hitting their stride, except for me. Question is, can we make up ground on Steve Spirit?
We might as well call ourselves the trio of self-deprecating humor at this point.
Oh, I'm not being humorous. It's like I'm actually playing terrible. I'm
willing to bet I played worse,
right.
But okay.
Let me look. I think so. I'm gonna start here. I'm thinking. I think it's gonna be close. Actually, seems like a very close game. Boozosaurus, I think, takes that one. I think Boozosaurus is having a good season. And
he is, but that's Sazuru, man.
I don't know very much about Sazuru.
He's on Team Next Level in Rag League.
Yeah, he's good.
All right,
he was part of the Season 9 champions, and pretty much if anyone who paid attention, pretty much everybody on that team was performing well, especially towards the end of the season. So
all right.
do not
pay attention. Sazuru, all right. But I'm just gonna give it to Boozosaurus on a 3-2. Let's see here. Smells Like Teen Spirit is having a sub this season or this week, so that's gonna
the lovely Crovan.
Ooh. Arcane THL. I'm gonna give it to him. Dexter. I'm gonna give it to Dexter. So I'm gonna give. See, Dave Pet. That's debatable.
No, I'm definitely giving it to Dexter there because Dexter's a bit more seasoned. Plus, he's slept on way too much. He can come out of nowhere with some huge wins, and I'm not just saying that because he swept me last season.
So surprisingly, I'm gonna give this game to the game 5 of the 1 seed. That 1 seed, Boozosaurus versus Sazuru. It's gonna come down to that game, the 1 seed spot, because I think Twiz wins, I think Force of Will wins, I think Arcane wins, I think Dexter wins. I think it's that 1 seed that we're gonna have to watch.
All right.
I agree, but I will just say I could definitely see Crovan beating Twiz in the situation. I don't think that's as much as good of a player as Twiz is. I don't think that's as clearly favored for him as one might think.
I mean, I think the last 2 seasons of Sylvanas League, I think Twiz has lost 2 matches. That's it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's
I did forget about that part.
Yes, Twiz is awesome. So here's the way I see it breaking down. I actually think Sazuru and Twiz, they're both playing hot right now. I actually like both of them winning.
Yeah.
Appa's been struggling, and I've been struggling. And I would not even pick myself in this matchup until I can get the self-confidence back to win. So I actually think this comes down to the 4 seed.
You
match.
really are being serious.
It's I think this comes down to Dave versus Dexter. Now Dexter is seasoned, but Dave Pettum has been killing both leagues for the last couple seasons now.
He has. He was part of wasn't he part of Booty Sweat?
He was part of Booty Sweat. I think so. Yes, I believe so. Yeah. So on that, I give Team Black Lotus the win because I think Dave pulls out the win against Dexter.
That's fair. And I feel like the exact same way I do about the previous match. I feel like this is just so close. I don't know. I just feel like. So I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if Sazuru and Twiz win, But it's like when you consider they're both of these teams are doing pretty well for themselves, it's like who knows which team will actually have the greater momentum like going into these matches. It's like plus we haven't seen many of their class choices, so I'm especially curious as to how that's going to
I've already had to tell my team, it's like, get your ass in gear and
yeah, you really need to do that.
I agree.
So
like only Twiz is submitted, and I think that's a problem.
I will say the past couple nights I've been busy. I haven't had a chance to submit, but as soon as the show is over, I'm submitting.
You're too busy being an
I
adult.
agree.
Yes.
I always do that.
So
I ended up submitting both my classes for both leagues very quickly because both of my matches are tomorrow.
I had to work 9 days in a row, so I haven't had
How
time
do you
to
do
submit.
that?
Because my
Dear
job.
God.
Just because my job doesn't like me.
No,
Oh,
I know,
sorry.
but like I don't know. I'm shocked your schedule's like that.
I'm getting clarification. Dave Pettum was never on Booty Sweat.
My mistake.
Yep, sorry about that.
No, maybe he wasn't on. Maybe he was on the opposing team then, because I'm pretty sure when Booty Sweat won, he was playing in the finals, if I remember correctly.
I'm trying to think what he was playing.
I'm very confident in saying he was.
I think he was. I think you're right. I think he was on.
But I don't remember off the top of my head who was the other team that faced them.
It was because it's been Bonja's team the past couple of seasons. So I think it was Toki Tinker, and then before Toki Tinker was Tollywags.
That was season 5, week 10. I'm just gonna for my own sake because I want some closure here.
Yeah, I think it was Tollywags Disciples.
Probably now that I think about it. Oh yeah, Tollywag was it? No, it was. Wait, no, that was season 5. Wait, what the fuck? Hold on. Oh, I went to season 5 and it took me to season 6. Is that correct? What the? Hold on.
Oh gosh.
But no, okay, no, I clicked on it wrong. No, you're right. He was on Tollywag. That was it.
Yeah,
he was on Tollywag. That's where I got it confused.
So, but he's been picking up his game. So I think.
Solid player all around. Now he's moved on to the 4th seed, and he's still been doing fairly well for himself, from what I see.
He has been. So yeah,
that's a good transition.
Yep. I think that's basically probably where he belongs.
I could see that.
So I think Team Black Lotus wins, but I think it's going to be a 3-2. I mean, if I want to be cocky, I would say we're going to sweep. It's like
no. Save we'll save the cockiness next match.
Well, yeah.
All right.
It's next week. So
the next match is what I want to look at because
yes.
Choose your words carefully is all I'm going to say.
I'm choosing my words carefully. Hero Power Rangers versus Dad Legend. That's a big one. Let's go. All
right, so this is basically the matchup of rivals because even though I don't have the same connection to these guys that the rest of my team does, basically these guys are there's a special bond between them. I think it's over the fact that basically most of our teammates, most of the players on both of our teams have kids. And so it's that Dad Legend lifestyle type of thing. I'm actually surprised that I'm for once not the only player on our team who is single and without children. It's it's refreshing.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah.
But this week is definitely going to be a big one for us. We've been mentally preparing ourselves for this week for a while. Just because we were all right, perfect, middle of the season, we get to play these guys, we get to strut our stuff, as they say, and looking at the matchups, I'm honestly, the big surprise to me is that Hockey Boy's being subbed in for Ben.
Yeah,
he's been subbing a while though.
I don't know what the story is with Ben. I hope he's doing all right, because I know he's taken basically a hiatus from both leagues, from what I understand.
Hockey Boys has been subbing a while, so yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe it's not actually a hiatus, but I know this is the second week in a row where he's not playing in either league. So Hockey Boys versus Brit Bulldog. Honestly, Hockey knows I love him. I will always love him. But I got to give this to Brit because, Brit was basically in a, really depressed state almost because he lost 2 weeks in a row, 3-0. And he was considering, taking a break, asking for a sub. He was just I don't know if I'm in the right mindset. We encouraged him. We told him, you got this. Don't lose hope. And then he ends up coming back and he ends up beating Misadventure last week. I think he is just he's 2-2 for the season right now. He's got some momentum on his side. I think if he follows what he did last week, I don't think Hockey can beat him personally. Typical
2
Tyrant
and 2
versus
is
Ducharmo.
nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing to be ashamed of. 2 and 2.
No,
that's a pretty good season.
no,
right
I think it was just the fact that it was 2 consecutive losses, 0-3. Like that was
yeah.
that can be killer because I've never really seen that happen before. And getting swept in general sucks. I don't want to think about what it means to get swept 2 weeks in a row. Like
that was like me last
that
season where I lost 4 weeks in a row, 0-3 in an explosive sheep.
That sucks.
Oh,
but
that's a gut punch. But
then again, it makes your progress that much better,
No,
so it works out.
I gave up.
It wasn't your season. This is your season. So I say
this is my season. It is.
Yeah. Typical Tyrant versus Ducharmo. I think this one is closer to call, but Ducharmo is. I forget if he's 3-1 or 2-2. Because hold on. No, I think he's 2-2. But he's also doing fairly well for himself. He was doing pretty well in our 1 seed last season. Now he's moved down to the 2, and he's still got it. But also they're the only ones whose lineups are visible right now, and I think honestly it's hard to call. Looking at both their lineups, I'm just like, whoa, this will be interesting. Obviously Yellow Dart versus Juggerlaw. I mean, let's be honest, no disrespect to Yellow Dart, but I'm winning that 3-0.
I like it.
Nah. I mean, I feel like this could easily be whatchamacallit. This could easily be like our last match where it goes to game 5. I could see that. But either way, I'm like, I love the man, but I gotta get my revenge. I don't care if this man is awesome enough to share a video with me that features 2 of the cutest things out there, both babies and puppies. I mean, I love him for that, but damn it, I gotta do my job. I gotta win.
All right, so this is my prediction.
Wait, hold on, but
we're still going through his.
I'll just quickly go through the last 2. Risen versus Zero. I want to see Zero win just because of how much he's been struggling between both leagues and because he's definitely a very talented player. But Risen is also arguably one of the best 4 seeds in the entire league. So I feel like inclined to at least give him the advantage. And then for the 5th seed, I got to give it to my man Boyd. He's definitely ready for this one.
All right,
Dreidel. What are your thoughts?
What do you got?
Again, choose your words carefully.
I'm definitely giving it to Boyd. I think that's where we agree. Risen, I agree with that as well. Risen has had a wonderful season. I think Risen is 4-0 right now. So him not having the advantage right here is, it's unlogical to give it to Zero.
Or sorry, no, I'm an idiot. Brit Bulldog didn't beat Misadventure. He beat Nate. Excuse me, fucking Nate. Continue.
I will give this
My
the
memory
typical
fades.
Tyrant on the 2, and Brit Bulldog on the 1, which means it comes down to JR Juggalo versus Yellow Dart. That's
God damn it.
It's coming down to you. That's what I'm putting it on. I'm choosing my words carefully.
To be fair, you are. I'll give you that.
I'm giving you guys. I'm putting it right on you. I'm bringing it back and I'm pushing it right on you. I'm like, you got to decide, because I think it's going to be that close, and that 5th game is going to go right to that 3 seed.
Yep.
Served
man,
up.
you really have like a hard on for me this season, don't you? That's the vibe I'm getting, Dreidel. Don't worry about it. Own up to it. I won't judge you for it, but I kind of need to know.
All right, JR.
Honesty is appreciated in this chat.
All right, JR, you got me.
All right, so I guess I'll give my prediction real quick.
Again, watch your words.
I watch my words. I do agree Boyd winning. I do agree with Ducharmo winning. I agree with Risen winning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say, Hockey Boys versus Brit Bulldog. It depends on which Hockey Boys we get.
Yeah.
Do we get the 4 Cult of Mechathune X Hockey Boys, or do we get the Hockey Boys we know that can play?
It's funny because I feel like when I first played Hockey Boys, that was the first sweep I ever got in THL, and he basically brought 3 meme decks and 1 meta deck.
Correct.
And it was like funny because it was just like I didn't realize how much he had a propensity towards that. So now I'm curious, is he going to go anywhere near that direction for here, or is he just going to go full try hard?
And I think that's the big question: is it full try hard, or is it 4 Mechathune decks?
I mean, 4 Mechathune decks could obviously be argued as like the middle ground.
Could be. It's definitely not full meme, but it's pretty close to full meme. So.
Yeah, I mean, what if he decides to go 2 Cult Mechathune decks?
2 Mechathune decks? Okay, that's splitting it. I'll say that. 2 Mechathune decks and 2 regular decks. That's splitting. So, I would say that. So it depends on which one we get. But I am going to go under the assumption, since he has been playing for this team for multiple weeks, that he is tryharding, and I'm going to give it to Hockey Boys. And so that leads the 3 seed match. J.R. versus Yellow Dart. But I will say,
the funny thing about that though is that our match is probably going to be the first one that happens, so it's not even putting it on us.
I'm giving it to Hero Power Rangers. I said Hero Power Rangers wins this at 14-15 or something.
No, I know,
something really close, something really.
But it's like you're putting. But I'm saying you suck because you're putting it on me, and that's what hurts.
But I have to put it on you because
I'm excited for this week, because
I have to put it on you.
This team. It's like I've played 3 of their members before. I'd like to keep. This is basically a repeat of what happened with Tam Pam Surslam last week, where it's like, oh, I've played like 3 of the people on this team before, and like now it's like I'm playing somebody new, or I'm playing like this is basically like
Let me ask.
I'm playing like a somewhat familiar face.
Who aren't the dads in Hero Power Rangers? It's you and who else?
Brit Bulldog.
All right. So yeah,
all right.
I think the non-dads win.
Fun fact, I will say, 2 of the members of our team are expecting their second children right now.
Woo.
So it's Dad Legends versus Dad.
Dad Legends versus about to be Dad Legends. About to be double Dad Legends.
Double Dad. Double dog.
I will say I don't think Hockey Boy. I don't think Hockey Boys is a dad, so I guess that does take away a little bit from.
If he is, then that's kind of shocking because I know.
Yeah.
So
maybe maybe it's a Canadian thing.
Maybe
I just gotta put pressure on you, JR. We were in Weasel Tunnelers together. I mean, we were Weasel Sharks.
But again,
come on. Weasel Sharks for life.
You have the hots for me. It's okay, Dreidel.
Weasel Sharks for life.
So I will say this. I think JR's prediction is right. I think JR does sweep Yellow Dart. So there we go. I've chosen my words carefully.
I don't think I'm going to sweep him just because I don't think I've actually ever swept anybody in Civ League as of yet. But
I will say you brought Warrior. I don't know how good Warrior is in Ragnaros League. I love Warrior in Sylvanas League.
That's the thing. I've talked about this with people, how I think with Warrior, it's very interesting because I find that Warrior right now is amazing. I'm maybe not necessarily amazing, but really good in Civ League because you don't necessarily need to get a win with it.
Right.
Rag League, it's harder, and I think part of it is also that Warrior is not necessarily the hardest deck to win with. But it's so dependent on which classes your opponent brings. Because with you, when you look at Odd Warrior, for instance, that's a deck that's really good against certain decks like certain classes like Rogue or Shaman or Mage. There's some good wins right there. But when you look at 2 of the more popular classes in Druid and in Hunter, not necessarily. And the biggest problem with it is that Druid just kind of has all these taunts and all these big things you have trouble dealing with. And then Hunter has just the Build-A-Beast and just all these big things. They just have too much burst to them for you to really handle. But it does still have enough strength to it. So at least if you're bringing Warrior, you're not put into this boat of, do I have to worry about winning with it? No,
Right.
But I will say it has been successful for me so far. So
I would say I'm
looking forward to seeing what happens.
My one win between both leagues in this season, I lost game 1, and swept with Odd Warrior.
Yeah.
So that's what I said. I'm much more of a fan of Odd Warrior.
I actually was surprised that 1 week I think it was week 3. My Warrior was banned. I was not expecting that. It ended up being, and I still ended up winning, but like, I think some people are definitely very concerned about like having to face a deck like that has all this armor and all of this like ways of gaining advantage for itself. Like, there's a lot of strengths to Odd Warrior. It just, again, matchup specific.
Very matchup specific. Very matchup specific. All right.
But looking at Yellow Dart's classes, I'm gonna be a little cocky and just be like, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, I agree. He's bringing Shaman. He's bringing Warlock.
I mean, if
pretty good for the Warrior.
I mean, if it's Shutterwalk Shaman, I'll beat it. But at the same time, I might have to like him a little bit less because I don't like that deck.
No. Yeah, Shutterwalk is a problem for the Warrior. I will say that much.
Shutterwalk should never have been made. Cursed you, Blizzard.
It was good in theory. The problem is they unknowingly put
it's like combo. It's one of those things where it's like I like Ike's build, for instance, because like I like the idea behind it, but like if Grumble didn't exist, it wouldn't be so bad. Being able to spam a bunch of like 6/6s, I think is a cool idea. I like that. But the idea of just having this stupid combo that rarely, if ever, fails, bane of my existence.
So, okay, so I think we wrapped that up. We wrapped up our Week 5 preview. I know some people wanted to talk about Tampan versus Fearless Hearth. It's like it's a first versus last place match. Come on. Look, if I had to pick Tampan, we'll win it. But what do you expect?
I mean, I think that's going to be a good one. But Tampam is definitely
it's going to be a good one.
It would be interesting if Tampam gets a loss out of that. But they're just definitely holding it down. I mean,
think it's more interesting.
This is basically the best of both worlds from both the Stubbies and Dirty Mike and the boys. And I mean, that's one lethal combo.
I think it's more interesting to talk about, Bon Voyage versus Tap Last, but because that's.
I love how I love how it's like we're using this to talk about all of our upcoming matches.
Yes. So, anyway, all right.
But we got to move on, unfortunately.
We got to move on. We're already 22 minutes past when we're supposed to be off, basically. So
I kind of planned ahead for this. Don't worry.
Yeah, we tend to talk anyway. So all right,
we are talkers.
So
it's a gift and a curse.
It is. So, so I actually didn't get a whole lot of questions for you. So, and I know we've had you on before to ask, not on this show, but like Tavern Talk, to discuss some of the history and stuff like that. So. But to give kind of people an update or kind of a refresher. So how did you find out how did you come into Team Hearth League?
Team Hearth League was originally introduced to me early 2017, right before the rotation to Journey of Angoro. I basically went to a tournament where I was hanging out with Asuna, who I knew from various local tournaments at that point. But at this tournament, I also happened to meet Alec for the first time, and
from Golden Wisp. So
yes, from the Golden Wisp, and both of them were basically encouraging me to join in. The thing was, Asuna was the one who recommended the league to me at first. Alec was the one who was basically like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you should probably make like a description for yourself so people know to pick you up." And I was picked up by Team Valkyrie, which at the time was Slimsh, D Lineman, where man, I'm just sad the man just disappeared. TH Lemur, and Crackshaw, who's of course now my current Rag League teammate on RNG. And from there, it was basically just like I've had like my mixed like seasons. I basically had like 2 good seasons and bad seasons with THL, and this is like. I'm trying to make this like my redemption season because like the past 2 seasons have just been very rough for me. Like even though I made it to the finals with Xynergy 2 seasons ago, I finished the whole season 4-8, and I was really not happy with my performance. So this season, I'm very happy with how things are going so far, knock on wood, and I'm like hoping it just stays that way and we can continue it.
Guess who picked me up? This guy.
Yeah.
This guy.
Oh yeah, y'all played. Yeah, that's the guy y'all played before.
That guy picked me up.
Yeah, my first Silver League season was Dreidel, myself, Scritch, Mr. Jones, who mysteriously dropped off the face of THL. Go figure. and Inked, who is now the captain of my current Sylph League team. So we all went full circle.
Yep.
And most of them are captains now, so
Yeah, I mean that was the thing. Probably the biggest thing about joining Sylph League, and the thing I was very happy about, was the people I actually introduced into it. That being obviously Dreidel and Inked, because both of them have been big presences in the league ever since. And the thing is with Inked, if I hadn't gotten him into it, Hero Power Rangers may not even exist, and that would really suck considering how much I love that team. So, yeah,
absolutely.
You can't.
But
you
yeah,
can't
this is
Weasel
this
Shark,
is my
so
this is my 5th Rag League, my 3rd Sylph League season. I opted not to play my first season so I could just manage one league, and then after Weasel Shark disbanded, I decided to take a break from Sylph League. So now I'm back.
Weasel Shark, I forgot about that team.
Yeah, well, what ended up happening was Weasel Shark, I wasn't really interested in being captain again, just because of various things in my life. Honestly, I think the only new thing that's really worth mentioning is the fact that I changed my name for all those who noticed.
Oh yes, so it's so all right. So, and I actually think was this a joke that we brought up on Tavern Talk when you were on the last time? It's I think the last time you were on, we were talking about
yes.
You're finishing up your law degree, and I think I made some sort of a joke that's like, oh, you should change your name to like J.R. Judgernaut or something like that.
We were throwing names around for a while.
It was a Discord shamble. Of
what ended up happening though was once I passed the bar, I was going to I found out back in the end of April. I was like, all right, I'm going to change my name now for the next season. I got lazy and didn't get around to it because I couldn't figure out a name. So I decided, okay, this season I'm gonna make a decision. I was like, I'm gonna actually take the initiative and get it changed. So I settled on J.R. Jugger Law because I was like, if I change it to something super drastically different, people might not realize it's still me.
Mm-hmm.
And even though J.R. Juggernaut was cool in theory, I couldn't help but be like, it's not enough of a change.
But you know what? You do J.R. Judger Law for now, and then when if and when you decide you want to become a judge later on, then you have an option to go to.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I mean, it worked out. That being said, I wish I had not waited 4 weeks to change my nickname on the Discord server.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny that I was still JR Juggernaut on there for a while, but yeah, now I'm actually about to be sworn in next month. So
nice.
I can be yeah, I'm officially a lawyer, but I mean, I'm still going to answer questions as if I am a lawyer now. So bring it. Bring your legal questions to me.
Bring legal questions in chat. Nothing that would incriminate
we've only
yourself.
Got one so far, but I appreciate Darkseid taking the initiative on that.
It's nothing that would incriminate yourself, because I'm pretty sure that Twitch could probably turn this over to authorities.
I don't want to even go there. Yeah, I don't even want to.
So,
shall we read that one question while we're at it?
Sure, we can read it. I was originally going to ignore it, but sure.
I mean, it is kind of funny if you think about it, because all right, Darkseid asks, in your opinion, would THL's decision to uphold PR for starting players, I guess to be higher than was actually written in the rules, hold up in court? Now, I'm very happy you asked that question, Darkseid, because one, I appreciate questions like that. Okay, I'm just talking out my ass. To basically answer your question, the standard would simply be a court would make the decision based on whether it was clearly interpreted from the original THL Constitution, whether that rule was meant to be bent or changed around in any way. If a judge were to find that it was intended to be this strict definition, then it would probably any changes wouldn't hold up unless they were made official. If the change was if it was held in some way that the rules could be altered kind of at will, then that would be a different story. So I hope you enjoy my indulgence of your question.
I like it.
I like it. Thank you. It's
I like it a lot.
Any other questions in chat? So as we didn't get anything else really on blog or anything else. So
I mean, they're not asking questions, but they're telling me to drink the booty sweat, which I don't think I want to.
Yeah, it was
that doesn't sound as pleasant as they might think it does.
Ago. They wanted us to drink the booty sweat 20 minutes ago. Don't worry about it.
So it's okay. It was
I don't think they're going to give up though.
Well, I mean, Booty Sweat wants everybody to drink Booty Sweat, even if they're not a team anymore. They still want people to drink Booty Sweat. Like, come on.
I'll just put it in a hot pepper, and it might taste a little bit better.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a slam or what's going on there.
I don't even know. I want to make that into a slam just for fun.
So, all right. So, all right. So, I think we're ready to get out of here. I don't have any, unless somebody hits us with something in chat like right now. I think we're gonna start closing this out. We're almost 30 minutes past, or we're at an hour and a half. I think
basically.
I think we've covered.
I mean, at least we've had fun
at this point. We did. We had a lot of fun. So, JR, thank you for joining us this evening, talking Civ League with us, talking some Hero Power Rangers. Dr. Dreidel, thank you for being here. Is he still here?
Hello? Yeah,
I hope he's still here. He's stream operating. It's like something happens. Like,
did he fall asleep?
Did he fall asleep? What happened here?
All
right. So anyway, thank you everybody for joining us this evening. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, I will be back at least for Tavern Talk, followed immediately by Thursday Throwdown, and then we have some exciting THL stream matches for Friday Night Fights. I know Salty Saturday is still looking for some matches. Sunday Showdown is going to have some stuff, including I know we are going to be showing this the rest of this week, basically both semifinal matches for the Mysterious Challenger League Season 2.
And remind us who's going to be playing in them.
I have to pull it up on the website. I believe it's Cinder and, if I remember correctly, I think it's Cinder and Catman versus
yes, that's one of them.
Versus Theo and Josh Sampson. So
all of them are good. All of them are good. I can't pin somebody because they're.
Yep. And we'll be talking about it tomorrow night.
Josh Sampson, aka possibly the only dadless player on Dad Legend. I mean, that may not actually be true.
Well, maybe Hockey Boys. Hockey Boys now.
Well, I mean, if you include Wild Out, then I think it might be true.
Okay, got it. So anyway, so we're gonna have them sometime over the next 4 days. I believe Friday Night Fights has one, and I believe Sunday Showdown has the other. So you're gonna get to see both of them this weekend. So, with that, but also make sure again, consider subscribing to the Twitch channel. Again, all money Twitch subs goes to maintenance of website, league activities, prizes. Smash the like button, smash the sub button.
And for the shenanigans.
Yes. And make sure to opt into Twitch notifications to see when we go live. So, with all that in mind, more information for this week coming up on the Discord Facebook group. Make sure to follow us there. But until next Wednesday night, when we come back, talk some more Sylvanas League. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Later.